Hey guys, back for part 2 of this Q&A for October. Hope you're all excited, and I definitely hope I'm definitely excited. I was saying I hope I'm excited. Of course I'm excited! You see it on my face. If you're wondering what this blue glow is, it's the backlight on my computer. It's quite bright. Turn my brightness down on my computer. Probably won't make too much of a difference, but fuck it, may as well do it. Anyway, next starting up part 2 is MSDC Punk. Please make more videos, man. I love your videos. Very informative things. You asked me, as a CM Punk fan, would you rather have him retain his underdog character, or would you prefer to see him become a WWE poster boy? Now, I had no idea what you meant by underdog character, so you kind of had to explain it to me in a message. So, yeah, put another way, do you worry that Punk could become the man in the WWE? Remember when he told Cena that he's become everything he hated, the 10-time WWE champion and the New York Yankees comparison? My question was, do you worry that this will happen to Punk and he'll stop calling for change when he gets titles, main events, movies, etc.? Or would this be something you'd embrace with him as a fan? Yeah, well, I would embrace it. Personally, I don't see a problem with that. I mean, with Cena, the difference between Cena and Punk, in my opinion, is Punk has kind of worked his arse off to kind of earn everything he's got. And his gimmick has worked to fucking perfection. He changes from heel to face every couple of years, adds moves to his repertoire, is constantly good on the mic. Everything you could possibly want from a hard-working wrestler who believes in the business. Cena, okay, he says he believes in the business. We all know he does. He does all the charitable work he can. The only problem I do have with him is, okay, he was in OVW. Apparently, he debuted in the year 2000, okay? 2 years later in OVW, he then went out to WWE, and then 2005, he was champion. Now, okay, he had some great matches in 2002, 2003, and then 2004, US title, 2005, WWE champion. That's the difference. It kind of feels like he's been force-fed everything, because, obviously, Vince saw some marketability in the kid. And now he has effectively, become the star of the company by being force-fed everything. Now, I'm not questioning Cena's integrity here as a wrestling guy, but at the same time, you look at Punk, who has literally fought for part of the early 90s in backyarding, then to the independent scene, then to the biggest thing, just working through the bottom of the rung, lower undercard titles, tag team titles, mid-card titles. Cena has been force-fed almost everything from the start of his career to become a success, like he's a manufactured star, kind of. While you look at Punk, you can relate to him more, and if he got all success, you could see that the guy is working his arse off, and you could look at him and go, okay, he has worked his arse off to earn everything he's got. He'd be someone to believe in. People would actually give a shit. And that, to me, makes it more believable as a character than Super Cena ever could be. Now, I hope that you understand what I mean by that, because obviously, Super Cena is just ridiculously overblown, and you would not want Punk to be like that. But then again, I don't think he ever can be like that. He puts so much more heart into the selling of a match that Cena could never do. He could take a beating and sell it to you like a boss, and Cena will never do it, really. I've hardly seen him do that regularly. Tell you that for sure. Habishme, your second question. Oh, you've been looking forward to this, haven't you? If you could bring back 5 wrestlers from the year 2000 onwards and fire 3 people from the current WWE product, who would they be? Well, who would I fire? Hornswoggle and the Usos. Yeah, you thought I was going to say Rey Mysterio, didn't you? I wouldn't want him to be fired because he still has some relevance, but I want him to retire in the plainest word. I'd fire the Usos because they're not really there at all for anything. They're security guys now, practically. And, well, Hornswoggle will just kill him. No, I don't mean that in a very evil way, but basically just get him out of the company. He does nothing for me. Who will I bring back? If they're either alive or dead, I'm going to balance it out. Foley, Benoit, Angle, Dean Malenko. Is that 5? Wait, hold on. Angle, Benoit, Malenko, Foley, and of course, one person I would never forget, Crash Holly, because the guy was actually a very underrated talent, and great mic worker, and actually not a bad wrestler for himself. God, I wish he was still alive. Miss him, a great wrestling talent, really was underrated by many. Definitely really, really good talent. Rico3 asks, what do you think of John Laurinaitis as the Raw GM, and do you think he should bring Nash back? Of course, now Nash has re-signed. He has been brought back. That we could have expected that from a mile away, couldn't we? But what do I think of John Laurinaitis as GM? I'm alright with it. Because then again, I've noticed that every time you look at the general managers, every authority figure, most of them has been the exact same. Very charismatic, very in-your-face guy. And this can be spread from many of them. Vince McMahon, Sergeant Slaughter, Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff, Vicky Guerrero, Teddy Long. Even Mike Adamle a small bit had a bit of charisma to him. He may be a little deadpan, but it worked slightly. And you know what? There aren't many authority figures that really sang out as being laid back and quiet. The only one I could think of was when Gorilla Monsoon was the on-screen commissioner, and he, of course, his health was declining. You'd kind of expect that he'd be one of those people who just did the orders. You'd see him every now and again to make a match. He'd be making all the matches. You wouldn't really remember who it was, obviously, because Jack Tunney was the guy running the joint. So he'd be possibly on screen and maybe a tiny amount, but maybe he was a backstage role too. And I think Laurinaitis does the same thing. He just puts the matches on, he comes out every now and again to put his authority down and go, oh, that's the guy who's bloody doing these things, isn't he? And I feel it's good to see something different, because Ric Flair was a mixture of both when he was the owner of the WWF and Raw GM for a small time. He was intersecting into feuds a lot, which got him in your face. But when it came down to the business acumen, he always kept himself laid back and quiet and doing what he had to do. And that's the definition of what Laurinaitis is. He's keeping backwards. He's not trying to be everywhere on the product, saying, I'm the authority guy. Because then again, he is the interim Raw GM. We don't know who this new Raw GM is going to be when he finally gets named. Could be Foley, which would be awesome, but it could be anyone for all we know. I think he's doing an okay job. He needs to be a bit better at getting in front of people and speak up a bit, because he's a bit quiet. His voice isn't very good. So all he needs to do, speak up, and he should be okay. I think it's a welcome change that not many are willing to say is the greatest choice. It's not the best choice in the world, but it's not the worst ever. Okay? It's not the worst thing they could have ever done. But you know what? I'm okay with it. He's doing an okay job. I like me worrying, thinking, is he going to screw someone over through texting? Is he going to favour heels or faces? I don't know at this point. I want to see what happens. Erla92 asks, what is the best faction you've enjoyed the most? Badly worded, I'd say that bit. It can be for any reason, which you put here. Superstars in it, matches put on, legacy they hold. There haven't been many factions I really have said I've enjoyed a hell of a lot. I mean, I enjoyed Nexus when they started. I haven't watched enough of the Four Horsemen to really get the gist, but I do like them nonetheless. DX as a faction were fucking awesome. NWO, until booking power made them corrupted. You can kind of see where I'm going here. The only real faction I've really enjoyed over the years, and I still do, just looking back, it's Evolution. To me, they've put on so many good matches, because the best thing about the matches they put on were, they were either really good quality, or had the aura surrounding them where they could be interfered by anybody at any time. You're thinking, okay, will this go smoothly? Will this not? Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't, and it gave you that on-your-seat mentality, thinking, when are these Evolution guys going to come down here? When are they going to beat up somebody and make their team guy win? And it always just made me sit on the edge of my seat. And the fact is, the guys in it are a step above most. You've got Ric Flair, Triple H, Batista and Randy Orton. At the moment, you probably say for Orton's case, his career is still going on. But all of them could be described as legends. Even Batista, because come on, he's won practically everything. These guys have all won the Royal Rumble. They've all won the world title. And everyone except Ric Flair's case, if you do count WCW, it does count the big gold belt. They've all held the big gold belt at least once, haven't they? And they've all been PWI Wrestler of the Year. And I think all but Orton and Batista, have been involved in matches of the year. I'm not too sure if that's confirmed or not. But you look at this point, you think, they're a faction people gave a shit about. And it's obvious. To me, they have a legacy based on the fact they had great music, great reason to be a team together, past, present, and future of the business. They were fantastic as a mob mentality where they beat people up, but they still made themselves look weak to put people over. Shelton Benjamin was one of them. Beat Triple H, Flair, and Orton. Well, we beat Triple H and Flair, then Batista came and beat him up. Then, of course, he had to have a few sparring matches. But Shelton Benjamin was put way over from that. And that's the great thing about them. They are, to me, the ultimate faction, no matter where people tell me otherwise. They are the epitome. But then again, without the Four Horsemen and a possible NWO, there would be no Evolution. End of story there. Largest 85. You asked me, who are your 2 favourite wrestlers of all time? Well, there's no Chris Benoit in this. If you must know, he's number 3 on my list. Number 1, no obvious questions, CM Punk. I've already explained why. Fantastic mic worker, fantastic all-round wrestler, and of course the guy who helped reinforce me getting straight edge. Of course, I was already technically straight edge from 13 till when he debuted, but hell, it's good to know that I could reinforce that. Number 2, Undertaker, because his matches got me really into the product. His feud with John Cena, his feuds with Triple H in the WrestleMania X7 2001 timing, his feuds with McMahon. Basically, any time anyone gets in a feud with McMahon, I'm on that. And his feud with Lesnar, especially, one of my favourites of all time. Definitely a great feud. He's had so many good matches over the years. His American Badass gimmick was my favourite, without a shadow of a doubt. Beat someone up, wouldn't take any shit from anyone. Deadman, a little more subdued, like it nonetheless. Still great the fact he's still going on. I hope he doesn't retire after this one last match at WrestleMania. Pray on pray. But, you know what? Great wrestler, has kept me in the business for so long, and you know what? I think when Undertaker does go, it'll be a really sad moment for the wrestling industry, and I really don't want that to happen, if you get what I'm saying. God, Undertaker. I mean, seriously, who doesn't like the Undertaker? Sure, his gimmick may be a bit stupid at times, thinking, okay, he's not obviously supernatural, but fuck it. I don't care how many times I've seen all his supernatural crap and it looks fake. I don't care. I love it nonetheless. I bet you guys too, if you're true wrestling fans. MSDC Punk 88, your next question. If you were a wrestler, would you rather be a jobber in WWE, a mid-carder in TNA, or an independent circuit legend? This is probably one of my favourite questions of the entire Q&A. Because you see, there are different ways you can go about this. A jobber in WWE, you'd be paid a lot, but you won't be going anywhere. Mid-carder in TNA, you're being paid reasonably. You've got a title or a good position in the company, but because of Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff's booking tactics and favouring old WWE guys, you won't be able to go anywhere at all. Because you'll be basically going, yeah, I'm sitting here, I've got the title or whatever, I'm in a good position, getting a bit of money, what am I doing? Independent circuit legend are being paid in comparison, but you're getting wrestling every night, you're putting on good shows for everybody, people respect you for your work. And I'd much prefer that. I would much prefer being loved for my work than being paid some money and just sitting on my arse. I would love to just go out there in a wrestling ring, do what I love, people respect me for it, and I get a lot of praise. Because if you're a legend in the indie circuit, you get picked up by WWE and made something of. Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, maybe Seth Rollins, better known as Tyler Black in the future, we don't know yet. But that could all work out really well for them, I tell you that for sure. That's the great thing, Indie Circuit Legend has a lot more going for you. Jobber and Mid-Carder don't work out in either of those promotions. Indie Circuit Legend works best. And then finally, Lil Chas 1. You asked, if you were making your wrestling debut, how would you like to do it? Either to, in your opinion, take out a top guy like Cena or wrestle a jobber. I would not do either of those. Simple. Because if you wrestle a jobber, you don't get remembered for taking someone out unless it's big. But then if you take out a guy like Cena, you will effectively get your ass kicked next time they see you, which completely makes your debut pointless. So I would do something I've always said is the best. Take out the authority figure, because everybody looks at you when you take out the authority figure. There is no doubt. You take out the authority figure, you are someone to watch. Take out Vince McMahon, take out Teddy Long, take out Laurinaitis, take out even Michael Cole in some way. You take out anybody with power in the company, you become famous. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Undertaker, anyone who took out any form of authority figure got known for something. And if you want to make a debut taking out the GM, go ahead, because it will make you a star in no time. So, it's the best thing to do. Beat up McMahon after he says no one can stop my power, come out, whoop his ass, and become loved by everybody. It's the best way to make a debut. End of story. No doubts. It'll be fun. I'd love to do that. Because the amount of times I've wanted to beat up Vince McMahon is surprisingly big. And, well guys, that's the end of my Q&A. hope a bit rushed, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe up there. The new Q&A moderator is there. Click on the channel link. Guys, I've been Cream Crazy. You've been People Watching. I will see you back for a new video series starting up on Sunday. I'll see you then. Cheers.